This is my equity curve for January, and I want to be completely transparent with you. This was rough. One of my strategies just had its worst single month performance in over a year. It was down 2.36% in a single month. Now, the overall portfolio stayed barely above green at 0.75%, and I experienced a max drawdown of 9.62%, nearly 10% in a single month. But here's what's interesting. I didn't panic, I didn't shut down everything, I didn't override a single trade. My algos executed everything, no manual intervention was required, and no emotional decisions were made. And this is all because over the past 6 years of trading, I've built a portfolio of now 12 algos that trade futures, cryptos, and even equity markets. This month tested that system harder than most, but that's exactly what I want to talk about, because anyone can manage a portfolio when everything's working. That's incredibly easy. The real test is how you handle months like this. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what happened in January. Now, as we can see, overall, there were 10 strategies that actually took trades this month. 2 of my strategies didn't take trades, and we had 0.75% after commissions, slippage, all those sort of things. So we still were green, but obviously it's a very, very small amount. And when you take into account that I was down almost 10% in a single month, this was a very, 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 very poor performance. This was a bit of a gut punch, especially after I just had a 15% month last month. Now, obviously, I'm happy that I didn't give back all of it, especially when I was down almost 10%. It did feel like, okay, I'm going to have to probably give back the rest of December, and that's just going to be how it was. And that's how at least I was trying to frame it in my brain, so I was ready with those expectations and I could just keep on going about my day for the most part. But the really important thing that systematic trading teaches you is this isn't failure. This is simply just variance. You'll have months like this, and the question isn't, will I ever have a losing or barely break even month? The question is, how will you respond when they actually happen? So to take a bit of a deeper look, 5 of the 10 strategies that actually took trades were green, some of them with meaningful returns like 5.11%, which obviously saved my month quite a lot, but that wasn't enough to offset all the losers completely by itself. Then we had 5 strategies that were red. One in particular, which was a Chimera based strategy, had its worst month in over a year easily, and that basically returned minus 2.36%. It had a 4% drawdown, and it took 41 trades in total. Now, I can only speculate why this was. I think it was mainly just because of the huge ranges in the market in January, and also a lot of the failed breakouts, which meant continuation plays and even reversion plays were pretty difficult on both sides. But I can never be sure why was this particular month the worst month. Just it's kind of how the dice roll for the most part when you're deploying different strategies. Obviously, you want a general idea, but I'm never going to be able to say, hey, 100% this is why it failed so badly. And we can also see this through the performance on the long and short side. Now, if you've watched a lot of these recaps, you'll know most of the time I don't get that much P&L from the short side. Most of the time, it's kind of insurance necessarily for when the market really crashes, and that's where it kind of helps me get back to break even, let's say. But at least this month, I pretty much lost only on the short side. I lost about 9%, and I pretty much gained about 9% on the long side as well. So that's how we got to that kind of barely break even. And to be honest, this is what really hurt, because pretty much all the losses came from the short side. And especially what makes it even worse is I had quite high correlation. Multiple strategies were actually short at the same time. And when one got stopped, they all got stopped out. And this was mainly because I had high correlation between about 4 strategies. If you look here, this is what is a correlation matrix. So that's basically how we measure correlation between different strategies. And as we can see, we have a couple highlighted in red that are between 0.88 and 1 correlation, which is very, very high correlation. And that's a lot higher than normal. Normally, my strategies sit around 0.1 to 0.3, give or take. So this is definitely the danger of correlation, that it can constantly change. And just because something was uncorrelated before doesn't mean it's going to be never correlated again. And in case you haven't watched kind of my previous 2 recaps, this is now actually the 3rd month in a row that I've had elevated correlation among these actual strategies. So here's what I'm actually going to be doing in February. Now, number 1 is the easiest thing, really, is just reducing position sizing. For the strategies that showed high correlation in January and also the months before, I'm going to be reducing it by about 30 to 40%. Now, probably you're questioning, why not just remove them entirely? Well, it's because one bad month doesn't necessarily mean the strategy is broken. And also, having 3 months of higher correlation, while it's definitely worth paying attention to and taking some actions, it's still not enough data for me to go, hey, these strategies are now, fully correlated forever, and they're, not going to work for me at the moment. Normally, I'd want it to be about 5 months, give or take. But as you've heard from other recaps, normally around the 3-month mark, I definitely want to take some action, reduce some size and things like that. And also, you might be wondering, I'm not removing these because they're bad strategies. They're just kind of redundant. If I have 2 strategies that are highly correlated, I don't need both. I'm not getting any diversification benefit from them, and I'm basically just doubling my bet on those particular trades. So it's better to remove one and allocate the capital somewhere else, or have a new strategy deployed. Now, adjustment 2 is keeping everything else unchanged. For the strategies that performed well in January, obviously I'm not going to do any changes. They did their job. And this is very important overall, is to not overreact to variance. I see a lot of people have a down month and then suddenly they're changing everything about their approach, even the things that are sometimes working, which makes no sense to me. Overall, you want to make kind of surgical adjustments and not a whole overhaul just because you've had one bad month. Now, personally for me, this month was pretty tough, being down that much money, especially in a single month, and especially if I kind of just scroll back up to the XE curve, it was pretty much a straight line down. I wasn't really like there was much chop. I guess kind of it accelerated over here, but for the most part, it was just a straight line down for the most of the month. So that was pretty tough, especially because, everyone comes into the new year with wanting to, go for a new P&L, all those sort of things. And while emotionally I try and not let that affect any decision making, obviously that's still going to affect how I feel about the performance of the particular strategies. Now, historically though, I think beginning of the year has always been kind of tough for me. So I guess like sort of in line, not necessarily I have a reason for that, but especially January, this was pretty tough. And I would say until almost the end of the month, I was pretty much accepting that, okay, I'm going to lose probably 10 to maybe 15% if it gets really bad. And that's just going to be how it be. And I keep on to the next month. Luckily, it recovered. I didn't see that really coming, to be honest. Primarily, this was from, I think it was a couple of swing strategies that did quite well and they closed their position and that recovered a lot of the P&L, which was great. But this is also a key point, as I always talk about in these recaps. This is why diversification is so important. If I was simply only running, one or two strategies, and let's just say they were the two biggest loss strategies, this month definitely would have been a lot different. I would have been down quite a lot. Now, is that to say it would never recover? No, I think it would probably recover in the future, but at least for compounding side of things, and also emotionally and taxing and all those sort of things, it's a lot harder to do. So running more strategies, especially trying to get them diversified. Now, I know I'm not the best kind of steward of that right now. I've got a couple of high correlation strategies. I was kind of expecting them to drop back down. I wasn't expecting them to remain at like this one correlation. I really did think it was kind of more of a fluke, just because they've been uncorrelated historically quite a lot, but obviously something's changed and now they're decently correlated. So I will be reducing size, or I actually already have in February. And now from there, I'll give it maybe 1 to 2 more months, see if they still remain high correlation. And then I'll often probably have to kick them out if they do. And if you're wondering, how do I do all this? How do I, let algos trade for me? Well, primarily I use NinjaTrader for futures. NinjaTrader is just primarily a platform where you can trade through, and they also have a coding side of things where you can backtest strategies and also have those strategies automatically execute for you. So I do it through NinjaTrader for futures, and then for the rest, like equities and crypto, I do that through API, so directly to the exchange, or sometimes I have to go for a brokerage thing like IB or DAS, but for the most part it's normally going straight to an API. And that's my month. Happy that I'm sort of back green, but it was still a very, very tough month. And as any of you know that are trading decent size, going through basically the drawdown that could pay for a car or a couple of nice things, it's definitely not fun, but I'm growing to it. And obviously I want the portfolio to be even bigger in the next coming years, so I'm gonna have to get used to this volatility and variance, and that's kind of the only way forward. But I hope you had a great month, and I'll speak soon.